All right, so I think it's time to have another kind of laid back sit down chat. Last time we did it about the iPhone 14 Pro. This time we're gonna do it about the AirPods Pro 2 because these actually might be one of the most impressive updates that Apple's had in quite some time. So when Apple actually introduced the AirPods Pro 2, this was something that I think a lot of people, including myself, kind of pushed off as, not really a major update. There was some nice design tweaks for the case and some interesting extra things that were added to the AirPods Pro 2, but after trying them and using them for the past 10 days, I have a lot of thoughts about what I really, really like and what I don't like. And spoiler alert, there really isn't a whole lot that I don't like. But let's start with a lot of the good, because really that's where a lot of this lies. I wasn't expecting a huge sound quality difference. When listening to the AirPods Pro, I already thought they sounded really, really good for what they were. Going with the AirPods Pro 2, I wasn't expecting a huge leap, but there is a huge leap. There is a difference in sound profile. I think I've mentioned this quite a few times now. The lows and the mids, those really, really got bumped up. They hit a lot harder. There's way more low end, way more noticeable low end compared to the AirPods Pro. And it's not overdoing it. It's not like, this is an Apple company, but it's not like when Beats come out with headphones, you just expect it to have a lot of bass. But it is very punchy in the lows compared to some other headphones that I've used, and even compared to the last AirPods Pro. And so I was really shocked to hear that, but it just sounds far more full and rich and just a little bit of a warmer profile than what I'm used to. Usually I think the AirPods Pro or just AirPods in general kind of lean a little bit more neutral, but these, if you love music with a lot of low end, they're really going to emphasize that music. And so it's something to keep in mind, especially, depending on what type of music you listen to. The next thing that is also noticeably better is ANC, and I didn't really I have a love-hate with ANC. In years past, I've complained about it just kind of, for really long periods of time. My ears start to hurt. I start to get like a lot of pressure build up. It's just a lot after a while of using ANC for a long time. And thankfully, you can turn it off. One thing that I really don't like about the AirPods Pro or just AirPods in general, obviously, is lack of customization. And I'll talk more about it a little bit later, but, you still can't adjust the level of ANC that you get. And so I was kind of suspect when Apple talked about ANC being better and 2 times more efficient or just more powerful. And it turns out that with the new design, and there is a new design with the earbuds here, they kind of change the vent locations and it kind of changes the way sound and noise cancellation works. And so it really does actually add a lot more noise cancellation, especially with I have a fan here that runs kind of like all the time, whether it's AC or the heat. It's really loud and it's just like a low, noise that's constantly going on. And with other AirPods, it really doesn't drown it out completely. With these, it really does drown it out. And I'm not noticing any extra added pressure or anything with ANC turned on. It doesn't feel any different really compared to AirPods Pro, the first generation. And so that's something that's really nice to see. And then Apple also tweaked transparency and provided some sort of adaptive way for transparency to work. So if there is a really loud sound, say you're walking down the street and you have transparency on because you want to hear some of the surrounding noises, cars, whatever it might be. Maybe you're in a busy road. And then let's say a couple of ambulances and fire trucks or whatever just come flying by, blasting their siren. You don't want that to be, during transparency mode, you don't want that to be amplified. And so what the new transparency mode does is it actually reduces the sound of super high decibel levels for you. And you'll even get a notification on your watch if you're wearing one. And that's not something I've encountered yet. So it's really hard to tell when that's actually happening. I guess I'm just not in the situations all that often when I'm wearing AirPods that the transparency mode needs to adapt and reduce the volume, but it can do it. And there are people out there who have gotten notifications saying that AirPods Pro have helped reduce the decibel levels. And so that's something that's super useful, especially for those who are running into that situation quite a bit. Apple finally added volume control to AirPods, and aside from the AirPods Max, these are the only in-ear AirPods that can now have volume adjustment. So how it works is when you stick it into your ear on the little stem here where you use to do playback control, you just kind of slide up and down to adjust volume. And it works well when you can do it, but if I can nitpick on this real quick, because there's not a whole lot of things that I don't like about these AirPods Pro, and so there are a few things that I'm just gonna nitpick on. This is a little weird. Like the stem, the outside of the stem, this is where you can easily grab, whatever gesture you want to do, but that's not where the actual gestures lie. It's kind of on the inside portion. So you have to like take your finger and do this in order to do it, and it just feels a little awkward, but it's, you know, it works fine. And for every kind of up and down swipe you do, it's like one button press on your iPhone. And so that's a nice, fine, kind of granular adjustment with the audio, so you're not swiping up and it's going full blast and hurting your ears. It's great to have. I'm super excited that that's something I can do instead of using my watch or using my phone. But you know, I just think it does feel a little weird. It's kind of an awkward location. I don't know how Apple could fix that, and so I don't blame them. I'm happy it's there. I won't complain anymore about that. There's a huge bump in battery life now. You go up from about 4.5 hours with ANC on to now 6 hours with ANC on for the earbuds themselves. I have never hit that limit. I'm never listening to music or any audio for that matter for more than 6 hours straight. Maybe on a flight, that's kind of where I'm stretching things out for a few hours, 3 hours tops. And honestly, I've had these for about 10 days now and I really haven't charged them yet. So, you know, battery life has been great so far. You do get 30 hours total, so 24 hours from the case, and again, 6 hours from the earbuds. And speaking of the case, there are, you know, other updates to it which make it nice. And so we're going to talk about kind of the last thing that's a really nice update to the AirPods Pro. And so as you can see here, there are some speaker holes and a mic hole cut out. The speaker holes are important for finding your AirPods Pro. A lot of people have lost AirPods Pro or got them mixed up, and the only way you locate them on the Find My app and play a sound is the sound would come from the AirPods themselves. Inside, closed, it's really hard to hear. Now you'll get some really loud audio coming from this case to kind of tell you and amplify it and let you know exactly where it is. And if you still can't find these with the sound, you can use precision tracking. Yes, the same feature that was introduced with AirTags, and now you can kind of find exactly where your AirPods might be if you're within a certain range. But one of my main things I really like about the speaker, honestly, is when you put it on a charger, it will make a sound, or when you plug it in, it will make a sound and let you know that it's charging, which is actually really nice. And also, speaking of charging, this isn't something I've actually used quite a bit, or really ever, but you can use your Apple Watch charger to charge your AirPods. So those are the things that I really like. There really aren't a whole lot of things I don't like. I mean, I guess this lanyard loop is kind of pointless to me, but it's not pointless to other people, and so I'm not gonna put it down. I will say it's a little suspect that Apple hasn't created their own, you know, lanyard loops and instead relied on third party, and you know, maybe I want better Apple quality, let's say. And so maybe they'll do that down the road, but yeah, I mean, if you have a need for a lanyard loop, it's there. Also, another thing that it's real nitpicky because I just don't think Apple's gonna do this right now, but having an EQ would be kind of nice, or at least, again, like I mentioned earlier, the ability to fine tune ANC and how much you actually want to have. And you're not gonna get that right now with AirPods, and maybe you won't get it ever because Apple is pretty, you know, historically against letting people do custom things. And so maybe in the future we'll get it, but you know, that's something I would like to see. And then I guess the last thing on my list is that they didn't change the design a whole lot, if at all. And so for those of you who out there who really struggle with getting these in your ear and cannot wear AirPods, it kind of looks like you're still out of luck. They did include an extra small tip, and so if the small, medium, and large tips that came in the box were not good enough, you do get the extra small. Now, medium come installed by default, and that's what works for me, and I've never had a problem with any set of AirPods in terms of fit and comfort, and so I don't know what it's like for other people out there. And so it's really hard for me to say, hey, you should buy these if they don't fit your ear. But I'm gonna guess for most of you out there who couldn't wear AirPods Pro, I'm thinking you probably couldn't wear these, but Apple has a good return policy, so I highly recommend trying that out. Of course, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below, but if you're asking me whether or not you should buy AirPods Pro 2, the answer is an obvious yes. I think I've been saying in other videos that you should probably wait until your AirPods Pro are no longer, you know, serviceable, and maybe they start to take a dip if they haven't already. But I think if you're ready for a new pair and you have the money to do so, I would just kind of go ahead and upgrade now, because it is a noticeable upgrade, especially in the audio department, which was really surprising to me. And then all of the other things that I mentioned earlier, you're gonna get with these over the older AirPods. And so if you're ready for new ones and you don't care about spending that money a little bit earlier than you normally would, then go ahead and pick these up. But of course, I would love to hear from you again in those comments down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.